Welcome back to Commercial Breaks with Miss Education. I'm Miss Education, episode 68. Answer me and use me. Okay, so I'm on this journey, right? You've watched me, you're watching me. I'm sharing this journey with you. And there are times where I sit back and I'm like, God, am I making this all up? Am I crazy? Like, are you really there? Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Am I hearing what I'm hearing? Am I feeling what I'm feeling? And I question because it's just so unreal to me. I'm like, everything that I was taught as a child is coming to fruition. Like, I am learning to fall in love with you, and you feel so real. But are you? You feel so big, but do you have time for me? Right? That there are times when I have those questions, those self-doubt questions, right? Ooh, and I'm like, God, just give me a sign. I just need to know that you hear me. And again, I put this under what I like to say is the Israelite syndrome, where, when the Israelites were in Egypt and God used Moses to deliver them, even though they walked through the Red Sea. God parted the Red Sea. Those people walked, right? The walls were water. When they were hungry, food came from the sky. During the day, there was a cloud that guided them, and at night it was fire. Like, when they saw all these miracles, yet when Moses went up to get the 10 Commandments, it took less than 40 days for them to lose their mind and to go back to idolatry. Right? They forgot who God was. They forgot what God had done for them. And I'm like, God, I don't want to be like that. You've parted my Red Seas. You've given me food from the sky. You've guided me with a cloud by day and fire by night. I don't want to forget you because maybe I haven't heard you in a while. Right? I don't want to be that way. So with that being said, every now and then I'm like, God, I know you're there, but do you hear me? So I was in Florida for a cousin's graduation, and we went to church. And I'm sitting there, and church it's church. It's not like my church, Cambridge SDA, dopest church. But it's church. And the pastor gets up to start preaching. And I'm like, oh no, I'm being a snob right now. Because I'm like, what is this man saying right now? Like, what? In my head, and I'm sharing this, I'm being honest. I'm like, my 11-year-old son can do this and do it better. What is going on? Like, what am I listening to? And I'm like, and this is my thoughts. And I had to stop myself. I said, God, so sorry. I don't want to come off like a snob, right? But this ain't it. But then I had to remind myself that everyone's in a different walk with Christ. There are still babies out there. Babies need baby food. You can't give a baby steak, right? You could, first of all, they can't consume it. It doesn't make sense to them. They don't have the teeth, right? They don't have the digestive system to consume steak. The same way you don't give a grown adult baby food. It doesn't feed them. It doesn't nourish them. So here I was at church listening to this pastor, and I'm like, this is baby food. And I had to remind myself that there are babies in the congregation, and for them this is what they need, not for me. So I just opened up my Bible and started reading my Bible, right? Because I had to check myself. I said, God, forgive me for being this arrogant. And then I was talking to God. I'm like, God, listen, I've been going through something with you. You're unveiling. I'm seeing things that other people aren't seeing. Even people in my that are close to me, they're not seeing what I'm seeing. And like online, and I mean, when I say I can connect, I mean, like, I can watch videos. I don't actually communicate with these people, but online I can connect with other people whose veils have been taken off, who are seeing things. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one. But these are people online. I'm like, God, I really would like to interact face to face, have a real conversation with somebody who's been unveiled. I just want to know that I'm not crazy. right? And so I literally, while we're in church, I'm talking to God about this because I question myself. Sometimes, I'm questioning my sanity. All right, so church goes on. At the end of, church finishes. It is what it is. Thank goodness. And then I look in the back and I'm like, that's my cousin. I see my little cousin. She's like one of my favorite cousins. And initially, when I first saw her, I was like, what is she doing here? She has no parent with her. Because in my head, she will always be like 13 or 16 years old. This woman is 33 years old, but she looked like she's 20 or 19, okay? So I absolutely love her. So I see her, and I'm so happy to see her, and I give her a hug. We're at the church. And again, we were down there for graduation. So she's like, yeah, I'm here for the graduation. And we were staying in the same house. We were actually staying in the same room. I didn't know she was coming. So we go back to the house, and it's time to change before we have lunch. And she's upstairs, and I happen to be upstairs, and we're talking. And then she says something to me. She's like, Jen, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She goes, how do you know you're making the right move, that God's with you when you're moving and whatever? And so, again, haven't seen this little cousin in a while. I start giving off like a generic, safe answer. But the truth is, for me, everything goes back to God. So I guess I was trying not to just rush into God right away, because I know that for some that's a turnoff, and I don't know, I don't know where she is in her walk. But I started giving her the generic answer, and I'm like, yo, I can't do this. Let me just be real with you. God. And while we're talking about God, she's like, yeah. And she's like, God's unveiled. Listen. We go down, I'm not even calling it a rabbit hole because that has a negative connotation. We go down the spiritual journey. And while she's talking to me, I say, in my heart, in my spirit, I'm like, thank you, God. And I had to tell her, I was like, yo, let me tell you something. A few hours ago, I'm going to say 90 minutes ago, I literally asked God to please put in front of me somebody that I can have this conversation with, somebody who's seen you the way I've seen you, somebody who's been touched by you, somebody who's been transformed by you in person, not on TikTok or, Instagram or YouTube. I want someone I can touch who's been transformed by you. In less than 90 minutes, I am having a conversation with my baby cousin, and God touched her. What he did for me, he did for her. And I said, yo, you answered me in under 90 seconds. And I said, yo, you hear me? Like, you took time to answer me, and I am grateful. Okay, this is the answer me part. Again, I just want to reiterate, when I get emotional, I am not sad. I am just overwhelmed, overjoyed. I'm still struggling to believe that he loves me this much. Okay. Anyway, let's fast forward. So I'm on this hair journey, right? I don't know if you know, but I went bald, and then I started growing it out. The reason I started growing out was because I was like, God, I'm going to read the Bible from Genesis, from in the beginning to the last amen in Revelation. And during my reading time, I'm not going to cut my hair, right? I'm going to leave my hair alone. And the reason I did it, because hair, is important to me, right? It's always been an important thing to me. You can ask anyone who knows me. I'm big on my hair. And I was like, God, I'm going to fast on my hair in order to get to know you. So this is why, you could catch me with this, because my hair is transitioning. But I also was like, God, I don't want to wear the wigs or do the fake hair, because it takes up time, and it takes up something in me. I can't explain it, but doing my hair does take away something that I right now, I want to give that something to God. So I was like, all right, so what can I do with my hair so that it won't take away from me, but I'm still presentable? So I decided that I'm going to start growing out like locks in my hair. And again, like, my hair is short, so when you first start off, these locks are not cute. So anyways, I made an appointment to start my locks. I sit in the chair, and this young lady is doing my hair, and we start talking. There's music playing. There are other people in the salon, and it's just a generic conversation. And I'm sitting because I know I'm gonna be there for like 2 hours. And I'm like, God, I want to talk about you. And I'm like, and again, I'm catching myself. I'm like, why do I want to just talk about you? I want to share you with someone. It's like, if I know, like I've said before, if I know the winning lottery tickets are 5737, I want everybody to win because there's enough money for everybody. And I know that the winning lottery ticket is JESUS. And I'm in the stage where I just want everybody to win, right? I want everybody to come up, and I want everyone to know this Jesus that I know. So I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm like, what do I do? Hold up. I got to take a timeout. I had to pause because my kids came in the room. So where was I? So yeah, I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm just like, yo, I just want to give Jesus. I want everyone to know. I want everyone to be delivered. That's what it is. Because I'm experiencing a peace that passes all understanding, a joy that goes beyond the world. Like this, anyways. I no longer believe in God. I know God, right? And I want to give that to everybody. So again, like I'm sitting in the chair, I'm like, God, please, I really want to talk to you about you to her, but I don't want to come at her because, when people come at you when it talks about spirituality or God, people get turned off, and I don't want to turn anyone off from God. I want to draw people closer to God. So I say, God, please, if the moment presents itself, I want to talk about you. Yeah. God was like, oh, really? You want me to use you? Bet I'm finna use you, Jen. And within like 10 minutes of me asking God to open a door for me to be used to spread his word, to give everyone the lottery ticket of JESUS, this little girl brings something up, and we start talking. We go down a rabbit hole. I share my testimony with her, and it turns out that she too, she's like, I felt like there's something wrong. She's like, I feel like there's something in me, and I know I need to do better. And she's like, sometimes I feel like God isn't there. Right? And she talks about, she's talking about her hair, her looks, her clothes. She's talking about all the things that I had on the surface, right? And I call them superficial, and not in the sense that they're less than, but the outward appearance. So she's first talking about the outward appearance, and I'm like, yo, I know all of that. I was there. I was you, right? And I'm sharing with her my testimony, and we connect on that. And she, at one point again, like I said, she says, sometimes I ask God, do you hear me? And I start smiling. And I said, can I tell you something? I tell her that about 20 minutes ago, I had asked God to open up a way, present an opportunity where I could speak to this young girl about him. And he did. And not only that, God had heard her answer, right? Had heard her prayers. She had asked God, she had questioned God, do you hear me? Am I important? Do you love me? And I told her, I said, God had me sit in your chair, because there were other stylists I could have gone to who were seasoned hairstylists. She's a newcomer, right? There were others I could have gone to. And who knows, my hair would have been better. I like it. I don't care. It's not about that. She did a good job. But God had it so that I was sitting in her chair on that day, in that moment. Not only was God answering my prayer so that I knew that he was there, but God was answering her prayer to let that little girl know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God, and I have not forgotten you. Right? Yeah. I'm gonna hit the word. Psalms 139 verse 4. It says, before a word is on your tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. Again, before a word is on your mind, before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. Before I had asked that God, please allow me to interact with somebody who had been touched by him. He had already bought my little cousin's ticket. He had planned, like I usually don't go to family graduation. God had said, you're going. God had put my cousin on a plane, and it was ordained for us to meet in that moment, that day. Before that little girl, and I say little girl because she's, 20, but before that young lady had even asked God to present himself to her, let her know that he still hears her. He had ordained my steps to be like, little girl, you go get your hair done, and you're going to sit in her seat on this day. And I said, God, I want to be a vessel for you. So as I sat there, like I said, and I'm asking God, please, God, please come through for me now. I want to share your word. God is like, little girl, I had this all set up, okay? But thanks for asking. Now that you said you want to, I'm going to work through you to answer her prayer. God answered both prayers with one shot. What a mighty God we serve. Anyway, wow, that was a quick 6. Oh, I passed my time. Sorry. This is all to say, what an awesome God we serve. God is dope. He answers when you get closer to him. He will answer even the smallest. And what may seem small to one is a life-changing to another. God will bless you in order to bless others. God will bless you so that his name will be praised through what he does in your life. To God be the glory. Till next time. Commercial breaks with Miss Education. Deuces.